Hey everybody, it's Sandy and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. As you can see, it's not just me, it's also Brian, my fiance. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how important it is, especially from a guy's perspective, to stay real and feel into vulnerability after you've gone through a loss. Hi, we're so glad you're here. So, for most of you who know Brian and I and our story, Brian's wife had passed, and he and I met shortly afterwards. He came to one of my Messages from Heaven events, and we truly believe that our meeting was divinely guided. So, I asked Brian if he would be in this episode of Wisdom Wednesday to share from his perspective about like how hard it is for a guy to process that emotion after you've gone through a loss. So, what would you want them to know, Brian?
I just think it's very important to communicate, to let those emotions flow, to let them out, because really that's an important aspect of the healing process is not to hold it in, and it's just so very important for a guy, especially guys, to let that out and to be communicative about their emotions, and we're not raised to be that way. We're raised to be these tough, strong guys that showing emotion really meant showing weakness, and that's not the case at all, and that's probably the biggest barrier for guys to get over and to understand.
Right. So, because when we first got together, there were many moments that you were able to share your vulnerability with me, and was that hard? Was it?
I think a little bit, but you're so easy to do that with, and you have the special gift that allows that to come out. So, sure, it was hard a little bit, but it was very cathartic, very healing, very necessary. And I was just glad that I was able to do that with you because that was so instrumental for me to heal.
What do you imagine happens for people, Brian, and what would have happened for you if you hadn't gone to the depths of that pain and let it out? What do you think happens? Like, what do you think the dangers are for people who don't do that?
I think it's both physical and emotional, right? If you keep stress in, it doesn't matter what the stress is from. In my case, it was from the loss of my first wife. You keep that in, it affects your health, it affects you physically, it affects you mentally. It keeps you stuck in that pattern of grief, and no one wants to be stuck there. You want to keep moving forward and get out of that phase of the healing, grieving process, if you will.
Yeah, and you can't rush it, you can't wish it away. The only way I have found, and for all the clients that I've worked with, the only way through it is to feel it. Whatever you're willing to let yourself feel, then you can then access those parts that are calling out for healing. And I think for anyone who is looking to move forward, you can move forward carrying that huge burden of grief as you're moving forward in your life, or you can move forward with a sense of lightness like you have. And it doesn't mean that you'll never feel that grief, because that I found when after my daughter died, that grief like snuck up on me in moments that God, it just I was in the grocery store one time in the canned vegetable aisle, and this song came on that was on around the time that she was in the hospital, and I melted into a puddle of tears right there in the canned vegetable aisle. And that happens, those pockets of grief that we hit. But I think it's about staying real and staying true to who you are and what you're feeling. It will help you to get through it.
Absolutely. And again, grief is part of that healing process, so it has to occur. You can't skip over that step because it's going to prevent you from really reaching the other side and being able to move forward. And typically guys, when they show emotion, right, we're like a wounded animal. We want to go off by ourselves because we don't want to have anybody see us, crying or grieving. And I think for women, it's much easier to do because they also talk to their friends about it. And guys, we don't sit there and cry to each other, right? So
maybe you should. I think it'd be helpful.
Maybe we should. But so there's a big ingrained thing with the male species to be that tough guy. But it's so important.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, but this lady right here is a big help.
And well, what I want to say, because I think it's really powerful what he just said, that guys can sometimes feel like that wounded animal that they need to go away. As a partner in this relationship, when he goes away like that, I get scared, and I'm like, where is he? Where did he go? When's he coming back? And so it's interesting. Now we're learning how to talk about that, so it doesn't feel scary. Now I understand better when you do go away emotionally like that. I don't take it personally, but I was for a while. It's just an interesting concept when you're in relationship with someone who's going through the grieving process. And maybe we'll do another video on that.
And bottom line for me is don't be afraid to ask for help. It's a really, really important step to take. It's scary, it's tough, but it's necessary. So reach out and
reach out and touch.
Let those emotions come through.
Somebody's hand. So we hope you liked today's video. If you did, share it with your friends. Share it on any grief groups. And if you know of any guys that are going through grief who might need some support, turn them on to these videos. Hit subscribe and let's share this into the world, that grief does not have to be the end of you, and also from Spirit, that death is not the end of your loved ones. Thanks so much for being here. He's so cute. Hey, are you done snorting? That's gross. How important it is, especially for men, to be real and allow themselves to feel. Wait. So in today. All right, ready? I had to put high heels on just for today's video so I wouldn't look so short compared to you. All right, ready? Yeah, so we hope you liked today. Is that your phone?
That's inside.
Oh. I could hear this whole video. Anyway, ready?
I'm ready.
We look like the farmer and his wife. We should just eat a pitchfork. Okay.